Oh, hi. I didn't see you there. I'm Fred Tatasciore, and I voice Hulk and a bunch of other characters and Bang from StoryBots. And you're watching In Conversation with Amber Jones.
Hi everybody, Amber here. Welcome back to In Conversation with ATF. You probably noticed my hair is it's blue now. I dyed it again. It's back to the standard amber look. If only I had the yellow donut hoodie on now, that would top it off completely. But we're not here to talk about my hair today. We're here to talk to one of the most greatest voice actors of all time, and I am so privileged to call him a personal friend. You may know him from the Transformers franchise. He voiced Ratchet in Transformers the game for like the consoles and the PSP and the Transformers Autobots DS game. Demolisher, Devastator, and Grindor in the Revenge of the Fallen video game. Megatron and Ratchet for the War for Cybertron video game trilogy, or more. I'm not sure if it's a trilogy or not, but Dreadwing in Transformers Prime the game. Saberhorn in Transformers Robots in Disguise 2015. He was a Quintesson executioner, I can never say that, in Transformers Earthspark. And that there's more, but I'm just gonna leave it there. But as for other roles, he has been multiple characters in Robot Chicken and Mad, both parody shows. He was the voice of Hank McCoy, the Beast, and the Hulk, and more in Wolverine and the X-Men, and pretty much like a lot of Marvel media. Like there's too many to name at this time, but you can go look it up. I'll link his resume in the description. Master Chifu in Kung Fu Panda: Legends of Awesomeness. He's the second voice of Mr. Grouper in Bubble Guppies. Captain Rockhopper in We Wish You a Merry Walrus, the Club Penguin stop motion special. I absolutely love that. I was actually listening to a bit of the Club Penguin soundtrack before. Yosemite Sam and Tasmanian Devil for the Looney Tunes franchise. Solomon Grundy for DC Comics, like a lot of the DC Comics animated media. Bang in Ask the Storybots. My personal favorite name are in Trollhunters Tales of Arcadia and the other Arcadia series. Lieutenant Shax in Star Trek Lower Decks. Devil Dinosaur in Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur. Dingodile for the Crash Bandicoot franchise. Reptart for Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl. Bane for the Batman Arkham franchise. And other shows such as Hot Wheels Let's Race. And upcoming, Iron Man and His Awesome Friends, and also different stuff like movies like Merry Little Batman, video games like Marvel Rivals, and theme park rides, and so much more. This intro is long. It's like Charlie Adler's. My guest is Fred Tatasciore. Hi, Fred.
Hi, buddy. Oh, that's
Hi, my
so
friend.
kind. I did not expect that. That's great. I was like, whoa, this is your life.
Charlie felt the same
It's
way.
a,
He was like, I wish when I die, you should come to my funeral and just read everything out. I'm like,
exactly. You forgot Skeleton Crew. My God. That was my new one, Captain Brutus. That was fun.
yeah,
Yeah. Wow. That's weird to hear too. It's like, wow, that's right. That happened
for real.
10 years
Yeah,
ago. Wait a minute. That happened 10 years ago. Oh my God. It did happen to me. It's weird to hear the
yeah,
date. It's weird to hear the dates. You're like, wait a
yeah,
minute. Wait a minute.
yeah.
That was just because time gets squashed. It's like
Hmm.
animation. Yeah, it gets squashed and stretched as you get older.
Yeah,
Wait a minute.
100%.
That was just yesterday. No, 10 years ago, buddy. Like, okay.
Oh
How
yeah,
you doing?
I'm good, thank you. How are
Your hair
you?
looks amazing, by the way. It's
Thank
great.
you,
And
thank
it's
you.
perfect for you. It's actually perfect for you. It's great.
I last had it dyed, I'd say, was it 2022? Maybe, I don't know. Would it have been maybe or 2021? I don't know. It was more than a year ago though. But yeah, I thought I'd go back to blue. I had some extra blue hair. I was like, I might as well use it. Gotta
Yeah,
use it.
use it.
It's been
Got to use it. Yep.
yeah. I've
I
missed
think I
having
did.
it like this
I
color.
did blue. I did blue in '92.
Crikey! Oh my goodness,
When I
that's
had hair,
crazy.
when I actually had hair to hold on to. Yeah.
Still got. I
Oh,
think I
hold
think
on
you'd
to it.
rock it. I think you'd rock it nowadays.
Still
Seriously,
now? Okay. I'll show up with some blue.
100%. I'll give you some spare box.
Get back to the beast, right?
I've got yes, I've got a spare box in my
Make
drawer.
sure.
So
I think that's a good idea. Yes. Yeah.
I remember when we were at San Diego Comic Con. I think we were walking down one of the corridors to was it away from the panel or to one of the
Yes.
panels, and you just burst into Hank McCoy. I was like,
I love that
oh,
character.
me
He's,
too.
he's like he's a person you want to be, kind of. You know what I mean? Like he's just cool.
He's that one guy you just want to hang out with. Like, I mean, as a kid,
Exactly.
like,
Totally.
I don't really want to be in a science lab. As an adult, yeah, sign me up.
Yeah, I want him as my teacher. Yeah, totally. You know.
Me too. Me too. Oh
Mhm.
yes, there is a another role I forgot to bring up, which is I can't believe we've never talked about this before. I
Which
know some people have already.
oh
Um,
no.
Dirk Dinkum in the Garfield Show,
Oh yes, that guy.
all over Twitter. Oh my goodness, I remember
Oh
when it
oh
was all.
terrible.
I was like, wow.
Oh, the terrible guy.
Yeah, the Steve Owen,
God,
like, dude.
doing horrible things with animals. That one?
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah.
that's
Totally.
him. That's
It's
him.
it's it's so funny because he wrote, yeah. Mark Evanier wrote that character. He talks about it. He wrote that character, and he knew he was going to be me, and I had done it, and he and I are very excellent friends. But he was just like, he's like, oh, Fred, you're just such a bad. I hate you now. I hate you. Like it was like writing this thing of like, you're just terrible, Fred. It's like when people start associating you with the character, it's
Yeah,
like that's
yeah,
what he did. Yeah, it was
100%.
so much fun. That whole series I just loved because the talent that was on that show, and just being able to work with everyone is just like it's crazy who Mark brought in, and Garfield that was a really terrific series. I just
100%.
was so honored to be part of that. You know,
100%. And
yeah.
when Mark's running the show, he's going to get the best people on it. So he brought in like Stan Freberg, June Foray.
Stan Freberg and oh my God.
Did you
Yeah,
get to meet
Jim
him?
Foray and oh my gosh, obviously Frank, Frank
Greg
Welker,
Berger.
Greg
Yeah.
Berger, who is a treat. I
Yeah.
mean, Wally Wingert. I mean, it's just the whole
Wally
gang was
Wingert.
just I
Yeah.
love Wally.
Jason Marsden.
Jason Marsden,
Audrey
Lorraine
Wasilewski.
Newman. It just
Yeah.
goes on, and you just go, man,
Audrey
just getting
Wasilewski. Arlene.
oh, Audrey, yes, and
Also a fellow
just
CESDer, I believe.
yes, many of them actually.
Yeah, I was going to
But
say, yeah.
Mark Evanier does it in the way that I love, which is like very old school, which is like we would have a table read. Okay, we would all read it ahead of time and kind of pick our parts and what we were going to do. It just informally did it, and then we went in and
Yeah.
did the record, which was just such a cool way to do it. We don't often have the time to do that these days, but
No.
it's Andrea Romano did that too, where we just have like, here we're gonna do that. Yes, what's that? Is that yes?
That was the signature. I think you were there. I
Right.
think you were a few seats.
Yes, that's right.
She signed it.
Yes, that's right. But that was it. You do the pre-read, get all the kinks out or all the ideas in, and then you go for the record. And I thought that was kind of a neat way to do it. And Mark usually will have finished the script the night before, so he's standing in front of everybody. It was really reminded me of theater, but it reminded me of my theater days, where it's like, okay, you're gonna do that, then you'll do that, and that'll be fun, and it really shows up in the show too. It's really there's a kind of a charm to it, and we just all had such a blast doing it. Even when I get to play the horrible people on that show.
I was gonna say, like, I'm seeing all these Dirk Dinkum videos come across my feed. And
they coming in now, yeah.
I think they are. Well, I mean, I searched them up purposely, and someone made a video was like, Garfield Show, but only when Dirk Dinkum appears. And then someone was like, has anyone shown this to his voice actor? I'm like, say no more. Say no more.
You're like, I'm actually friends with that jerk. Yeah. Right.
I was gonna say, I'm not sure because there is a lot of like memes that have been made out of it, and I can't believe I never brought it up. I think it's because like the first time I met you, I just completely forgot that you were Dirk Dinkum. It just completely escaped my mind. I was like, oh shit, yeah, he was Dirk Dinkum. There's me in the hotel thinking, oh shit,
it happens all the time. First of all, especially with voice acting, there are times where everyone's just discovering who people are, and who's doing what, and it's I mean, I'm a fan of Futurama. I was friends with John DiMaggio before I realized he was Bender. That's how funny that is. Yeah, I mean, I should know that stuff, but this is way back, where I just didn't think about that, and I was like, oh, of course it's you. It's but it's. I worked with him on another thing, and I realized, oh my God, that's you. Okay, because that's not a normal voice. You don't think of John when you hear that. That he's doing this particular voice with Bender.
No.
He doesn't sound like that. Like that's normal.
Not
so
really.
it was, but that happens all the time. We're constantly. Now I watch all kids shows because of my son who's 6 years old, and all my friends. I'm like, that's Jeff Bennett. Like, wait a minute. Hold on, that's Eric Bauza. Like I could kind of tell, oh, definitely Kari Wahlgren. I know who that is. You start to kind of piece everybody. You're like, wait a minute. I know that happens with video games too, where people like, I so many times people have said, oh God, you're all over Arkham Asylum. Yes. I'm working for that clown all the time. Yeah. Like, the freaking clown.
Real quick, just quickly going back to the Garfield show. By any chance, did you ever get to meet Stan Freberg or June Frey?
Many times.
Did you?
Yeah.
Good.
Many times. Became friends. Yeah. And again, I was in a situation where I was starstruck. I knew who they were. Stan Freberg, I love his comedy albums. He's a real inspiration. Like, I just love how he did stuff. He brought such a performance and such an originality to everything he did. And so he was still funny. He was hilarious as an older guy. Like, he just was the same guy, who just brought the most zany thing to these doctor characters, these characters who'd show up. And I was just like, when you're a guy like me, you're an audience. I'm sitting here watching, him and Frank Welker, and I'm just like, okay, you're amazing, and so yeah, I was a bit starstruck. I did have to have him sign a few things, you know what I mean, just because. And June Foray is another one I got to meet. That I got to meet her more socially, through Mark, and he was just the most genuine, fun, like she just wanted to talk with you. You know what I mean? She was just a for real wonderful actor. That's what these people are. They're just really great artists. They're great.
Yeah.
They're over themselves. They're just like, salt of the earth working wonderful artists that want to play.
Yeah.
When I show up and Tim Conway's still doing auditions. And I'm seeing him. I'm like, really. And I always joked with him. I'm like, okay, how are you going to do it? I'm going to read it like a telegraph, or he would say stuff that's just these random things. They were all just so fabulous and so, legends in their own time. And, it was just such an honor to be able to sit in the same room and just watch them do their things, Gary Owens and all those guys. Yeah.
100%. I'm so envious, honestly. It's a job that I would love to have, or a career.
Well, you have that. You actually do have that job. It's just a lot of the guys have, are retired or moved on or, gone into the next place.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But it's you'll see some more. You'll run into it all the time. You will.
Yeah. I can't wait for it. For real.
Yeah. But
let's talk, right? I've got to bring this up real quick.
I did it once for the money. Why is everyone bringing it up? No, it's kidding. Go
ahead. you were nominated for. Well, I mean, you were nominated again for a Children's and Family Emmy Award. Yes. Like, I think is this the third time in a row that you've been nominated? Because I swear you were nominated the first time for the first.
Nominated for so 2 Emmys and 1 Annie. Yeah.
Oh my.
Yeah. Nomination. Didn't
wow.
And I gotta say, it's I'm so honored. The StoryBots show, Ask the StoryBots, is probably one of my most favorite things I've ever had to work on. The Spirandellis brothers are just incredible artists. The cast and crew on that show are ridiculously good. And what's fun about that show is that adults and kids like it. You learn something as an adult. You can learn something. And it's not annoying. The music is incredible, and it's just it was just not only. And again, we did the same thing. We did a little table read. We would try to figure out where our parts were, what we would do, but then we would record. The group was just such a solid group, and I'm so honored. Like. First of all, it's nice to be have a nomination and all that, but I don't expect anything, but I'm humbled and just so grateful to be associated with that show at all. Because that's just really that's the kind of work you want to do. It's a mix of puppetry, live action, animation. It's multimedia, and it's talking about how are planets made? Where does, water go when it gets flushed down the toilet? Why do you need to brush your teeth? Why can't you eat desserts all the time? Really great topics that kids really have a question about. And what was really fun is my son loves the show, so I get to watch that with him. And Bang too, the robot that I play is Bang, so he's blue like you, Amber.
Oh
Bang.
yes, he
Yeah,
is.
that's right. That's right.
Awesome.
Yeah, he's
Oh
one of
my-
my favorite. He's one of my favorite guys, and I really love that character. And then when you work on that show, you get to do a myriad of 100 other characters. You're a broccoli, a doctor, a wolf. Like you play 100 different things. Caveman, a dinosaur, talking, singing cow. It just goes on, and it's so wildly entertaining. And these guys, the brothers, the Spirandels brothers who created this thing they're such true artists and really they want you to do your thing. They really want to bring you out and make it, and it's like it's the Sesame Street. It's that kind of wonderful.
Yeah.
I love Sesame Street. It's that kind of like, wow, this is really different, and they broke the rules a little bit. Well, Sesame Street does this too, where you're mixing up the mediums. So it's it's puppetry, and the same character's a puppet. That's a 2D character. That's a 3D character. That's a they change it around, but somehow it all works. And again, you get the street cred. The kids love it, but the parents, I can't tell you how many parents have come up to me and been like, oh, thank you for that. That was fun. I get to enjoy that with my kid,
Thank you for not being annoying.
Thank you for not being annoying. So good for Netflix and good for them to, you really for
real.
putting this thing on. And I'm just so grateful. It's the gift that keeps on giving. At this point, like I said, you don't expect anything from that, but just the fact that people are still talking about it and that it's being brought up and that it's award worthy makes me. I'm just so happy. I wish we could just keep going. I would do this happily the rest of my life. That show, I really would. I absolutely love it. Yeah.
Is it still running or is it in reruns?
It's running. Well, we're done. We're done with it now.
Oh, right.
It got all the Emmys in the world, which is the kiss of death. Yeah. It's still
on Netflix. It's still available. We're not making new episodes.
Absolutely, but we're not making new stuff yet. Hopefully, I don't know. They're always cooking up something huge. But I enjoyed playing just this character that's just like, wow, what is that about? Well, I don't understand, man. How are planets made? And it was just like, it was just fun to do.
I think it's really wholesome. I need to show my niece and nephew that show because I think my sister has
How old
Netflix.
are they?
My nephew's 6 and my niece just turned 2.
Perfect. There's no like real limit. Because like I say, even as an older person, you just love the show.
Yeah,
it's like
100%.
I didn't know that. Oh, okay. And then Snoop Dogg shows up as an OS system. You're like, what the heck is that about? Yeah. So
That's so funny.
It's the most random fun show, and I am just I'm literally, it's evergreen, and it's one of those things where I'm just so proud of it. I'm just so glad we got to do it, and I just love the cast and crew. They were just first rate,
I mean, I'm in a Discord server with like a bunch of other autistic people, and we absolutely love StoryBots. I mean, we literally, because you can add like custom emojis in the server, so we have emojis for all 5 of the StoryBots.
I love them. Yes.
So I'm just gonna be like, oh yeah, guys, you look who I spoke to. Just little bang emoji.
Bo's outtakes were the best. Because she shouldn't say these things. Yeah, she was just hilarious. Everybody was so good.
Oh, Bo, Erin Fitzgerald, she's awesome.
Erin Fitzgerald, and oh my God, everybody was just
really
just
wish
incredible.
I could meet her. She seems so awesome. I've had her on my show before, but that was another question I was going to ask you.
Yes.
You were at the Emmys last year, the one in December 2023. Okay. Backstage, I believe, Erin. I was wondering if you met Frank Welker or Peter Cullen, because Peter Cullen got the Lifetime Achievement Award.
Wasn't that great?
I know, and Frank presented it to him just like how Peter did it and presented him. Frank was one in 2016.
Oh wow. Yeah.
Did you get to meet them backstage?
Oh, well, I know them. I mean, you're talking about Peter and Frank?
Yeah, well, I mean, them, but did you happen to?
I didn't talk with them that night, but I know Frank. Frank is a friend of mine who's incredible, and Peter I've worked with a few times, and I've they are just the most. He's just the most humble, wonderful guy that you would expect would be. Like just and. But what I loved about that night was that that he talked about, who Optimus Prime was, and that it was his brother. That he based Optimus Prime on this
And his brother
incredible, heroic brother. Yeah, and I mean, not a dry eye in the house, man. It was just like
100% no.
because it's Peter Cullen, right? So it's like I wanted somebody who could be. What would that character be? Somebody who was
That's a really good impression.
looking out for everyone, and someone who cares and is a warrior, but is not a cruel man. And I was just like, wow, that
Holy mother.
done. That just like if that doesn't make you, that does not endear you to that character even more. I
think it's wonderful. Yeah.
I was so happy that Frank got to do that to bring it to him, and also then Peter got to talk about it, and I just was like, we were all just like,
it's beautiful.
That was a reveal. That was just so beautiful.
100%. Yeah. And what was I was gonna say something as well. What was there? Yes, they do like the silver circle and the gold circle. Don't they? So like they induct people into the sort of like the silver circle, which is like over 30 years, and then gold, which is like over 50 years in the show business. You know that, right?
Okay, yeah.
They induct
now.
Well, they inducted Andrea Romano into the silver circle that year, so she was there.
Yes, isn't it amazing?
Yeah, I know.
She deserves that. That woman has so many Emmys. If you go to her house, she's dressed some of them up in like different characters as whatever the show was. It's really great. Yeah. She's just brilliant. I mean, she's one of the. I was very, very lucky to be able to be under her, direction and tutelage. When I started out, she was just such an incredible. It was really funny too because I would be so nervous when I started back in my 20s, and and I would do stuff. I would do a thing where I would do a line, and she would say like, make another choice or do something different, or she'd direct me, and I would have this thing of like, oh, I'm sorry, I messed that up, and she's like, don't do that. Just, and I tell students, because we get so down on ourselves.
Yeah.
And I was so down on myself always whenever I messed up. It's like, no, dude, that's why you're here. You're here to do the thing, and the director gets to shape you, and you get to work together. Don't
yeah.
like, damn it, no, stupid, and I wasn't that extreme, but it was kind of a Chris Farley moment. Like, I'm sorry, I thought that's what you wanted. No, don't do that. I tell students like just, and she would always be so great. Like, don't apologize, stop.
Yeah.
Move ahead. And I know, she was trying to. That's what she was right, but it was just really funny that when I look back on those times and realize that she was really helpful to me. Trying to like suss out characters and stuff,
Yeah, and just like she's just an incredible human being, honestly. And
I always love how she would say, "Thank you for playing." At the end.
Yeah, it's the voice. I love her voice, and just you going back to she puts Barbie dolls in her Emmys. So I was like, look, she has a pair of cat headphones. I'll make it. As I actually emailed the people who do the Emmys. I can't remember the name of the company, or the sort of like, is it CBS or something? I can't remember.
Oh, I don't know. That's a good question.
But I got the exact measurements of the head that's on the Emmy trophy. And I actually made, I'm not sure, I don't think I showed you these when we were at the smokehouse. I actually made her a miniature version, one for myself, one for her, a little mini cat headphone thing. Look at that.
Oh, that's great. That's amazing.
to go on a Barbie thing. So it's just like,
that's perfect. So you're on top of this. Okay, you already know. Okay. Yeah, that's perfect. You're going to love that.
I need to do more clay sculptures. I think they're quite cool. I've got a lot of
they're really good. I love working with clay. It's great.
I know. Yeah, I did it. It was hard at first, but then I was like, oh yeah, this is
that looks really good. So what's that made? That is clay what you made?
This little these?
Yeah.
Yeah, these are clay.
That's great.
These are, I think I've got it in my drawer. It's polymer clay. It's the sort of that you put in the
Yeah,
oven and you bake it, and
totally,
then
totally.
I just painted the little details on. But I actually, for the little detail in the little headphone
That's
thing, the
really,
dent,
by the way, that's crazy good.
I know.
That's great.
Thank you. It was
That's
literally my first
crazy good.
time, so I was like, yeah.
Oh, that's really cool.
I might put it on a little key ring, put a little thing in it, and just have it as a key ring.
That's great. I love that stuff. Do you like puppet animation? Do you like the Nick Park
Yes.
stuff? Yeah, I got to meet him
Yes.
over the Annies. Oh my God, it was such a hero. All the guys who worked
Wow.
on,
Oh,
all the
I'm
people who work on those
jealous.
show, the Shaun the Sheep and all that stuff.
Oh my
So
gosh.
good. He had a little model,
Yeah.
had a maquette there,
Oh, that's
and
awesome. I didn't know you got to meet him. That's
yeah, it
awesome.
was just randomly. I just didn't expect that. I just showed up, and
Yeah.
I was just there for basically there for support. I wasn't
Yeah.
up for anything. I just was like, oh, the Annies, and
Oh, speaking of Garfield, yeah, Garfield.
right,
Yeah,
right,
Garfield pants.
yeah, right.
Got everything. Rocking all the brands. I got Looney Tunes, Garfield. Everything.
All those. Oh, we know. Oh man. So yeah. So
Yeah.
that's but yeah, it was really nice to meet him, and I just reminded me of the Clay. He always makes these
Yeah.
great
Yeah.
characters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll definitely have to do some. Yeah. Make a mental reminder for that because I'll probably do some more tomorrow. I might.
Good deal.
Yeah, definitely. I completely forgot what I was going to say. There we go. I just remembered. Actually, I'm interested now because I was looking at like your earliest voiceover credits, and
Yes.
I was wondering how did you get into the business? How did you end up moving out to LA? How did you get your first voiceover job? Did you always want to be a voice actor? Tell me a bit about your early life because I don't know too much about it.
Oh, absolutely. I was born in New York. I was born a long time ago. Well, I was born very young. No, and um, uh, moved out.
Take your
My
time.
father was working in the business. He had worked as a production. He was a writer, a producer for
Mhm.
different shows, news shows, game shows, things, and he had worked in production. My mother
Yeah.
was an actress and later became a therapist. And we moved out to California. I was very young, and I was always into cartoons, animation. I always knew I wanted to work in some sort of artistic field. I was always into
Yeah.
art and music and
Hmm.
comedy, and I thought, and I was able to abscond well, I mean, my dad gave it to me, but I think I stole it. His tape back in the old days, we had a tape recorder that had tapes, and and
You
and
had to manually rewind with a pencil in your finger.
yes, yes, yes. I did all that. And so I used to record. My dad would record me, and then I started recording myself for years. And I loved recording. And I was kind of a latchkey kid. My parents got divorced. My dad remarried, and my stepmom and him were working on the Dinah Show. Believe it or not, this was an old variety show, a really good fun show. And so they were in that business. And my mom had an apartment, and I would live with both and did the divorce thing back and
Yeah.
forth, too.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
and I would be kind of a latchkey kid at my mom's, and I would just record with my friends, with me. I found some of those tapes. I was
Mm.
a little more foul mouthed than I wanted to be, but but I would do characters, and I used to love doing that kind of stuff. Got my hands on a Super 8 camera. I used to do little claymations, and that was sort of my jam. I really loved doing that. I got really into doing. I think I was in fifth grade. I did a talent show. I did a stand-up comedy routine with a puppet. That was a dog. I was teaching how to blow your dog's nose. I did a whole thing, and I was just so. I always loved doing impressions, and I was a shy kid though. I wasn't like the normal class clown. I was pretty much
Yeah.
kind of incognito. I was like, then as I got older, I would get on the microphone at school and impersonate the principal, and do things and get in trouble and escape just before getting in trouble. And I used to, but that got me really into uh, theater. I was really got into acting. I
Hmm.
I think, gosh, let me think back on it. I was really into just making people laugh and memorizing all sorts of comedy albums, and got into theater. It's funny. I think I had a crush on this girl who
Hmm.
was in a theater class, and I wanted to join it. And she wanted nothing to do with me eventually, but then I ended up loving the class so much, you know, and I just got bitten by it, you know,
Mm.
and I was always along the side, always interested in animation.
Yeah.
And that's like my other love. It's almost an equal love for me. And so, and animation is like the slowest acting you'll ever do. Instead of just going, "Hey, Amber," it's, you know, you're just acting with the pencil, basically, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I got into doing both. I was doing stand-up comedy at UCLA comedy club. Still friends with those guys. Did a lot of stand-up. I got into like, you know, the Groundlings and Second City, like the improv
Yeah.
world. That was my.
Mm-hmm.
I loved all that, and then got into graduate school doing theater, which is like a master's class, and that got me into classical theater. So I did
Yeah.
Shakespeare. My whole life was like Shakespeare, classical acting for a long time, doing theater in Los Angeles, and that was my. I love doing that, and that's a near and dear to my heart. It's amazing how much of that acting you utilize in video games now, the classical trained stuff, you know. And
Yeah.
then at the same time, I decided to continue, and I went to UCLA Film School in the UCLA animation department, and I studied animation,
Mm-hmm.
and then I started doing voices for other people's films, and the two careers kind of merged, you know.
Yeah.
So now I'm practicing doing some of my own animations, but what happened was my career kind of launched into, I was doing trying to do theater and on camera and all that, but that seems like the voice really stuck. Especially after doing a lot of student films. And I recommend artists doing student films because
Yeah.
it's some of the most creative work you'll find, because there's not too many chefs and there's not like some demographic they're worried about. They're doing their personal stories, you know, which is
Yeah.
sometimes the best thing.
Yeah.
So I kind of got a reel together of that stuff, and
Mm-hmm.
then got an agent. It was originally Don Pitts was my agent at KSA,
Wow,
and
you
he was
lucky
a
boy.
lucky boy. My dad
He
had
was with
known him.
everyone.
Oh yeah, yeah. Oh, he was amazing. And
Yeah. Oh.
Then Pat Brady took over for him, and then that launched my whole world.
Oh. Oh,
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Pat Brady. I was under her wing, man. She was
Wow.
like,
And then she retired.
she
And
met me with
was
blue
happy.
hair. She met me with
Ah!
and I was doing
And
a lot
then
of rock and roll performance art, crazy crap back then. So I was like, you know, not what I look like now. I had long hair and a dog collar, and I was like the comedy Nine Inch Nails. You know, it's like that was my world.
yeah.
And then it was like, and I was I was studying animation at the time
Mhm.
at UCLA,
Yeah.
and then jobs slowly started to happen. Gladiator was my first big ADR film,
Uh-huh.
and then Invader Zim and Family Guy were my first, like, and
Mm-hmm.
Baby Blues was another show, people, but and then Ben 10. But like I'd say
Uh-huh.
Family Guy was a very big one for me, because I got to start with that, and I'm still working on it to this day. I'm so
Oh.
grateful. Strangely, two of the writers on the show, the head guys, are guys I knew from UCLA Comedy Club, which is really kind of cool.
Wow. Oh, that's
Yeah,
awesome.
Steve
And
Callahan and Pat Megan. Yeah,
oh
and
wow. Oh my.
and so Invader Zim with Jonan Vasquez, and those were my big starter shows.
Oh wow.
And
Awesome.
then the original Ben 10.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Chris
because
Zimmerman. Chris Zimmerman was director on
oh
that.
Chris, yes.
Yeah,
I
love her.
I
Another
need to
one.
get her. Yeah, I need to get her for
Her
my
and
show.
her and Colette and all that, just the amazing
I've had
people, you
Colette
know.
on. She's lovely. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, she's the best. She told me she loved it. Yeah, she was like,
Oh, oh,
yeah.
so sweet. And yeah, oh my God. I literally just remember when you said UCLA, I was thinking, what's it? Because I remember, because didn't you say when we were at the smokehouse, I told you about Scott Brownlee, and you said, yeah, you do
Yes,
remember
Scott Brownlee.
That's
I met him.
insane.
I
Wait,
was
so
I
wait.
was a student when I met him. He was my teacher. He was actually my teacher.
Oh my God,
He was a
that's
sound
what.
guy.
So what this? Yes, that's him. That's him.
Best
Oh my
sound
God.
guy. He's the guy. He's the
Wow.
guy. I haven't
Okay.
talked to him in a million years. I'd love to talk with him. Yeah,
Okay, I need to try and get you to see if you can be a guest at TFCon this for the Sunday only, because Scott might be coming to see Frank Welker.
I
So
would love to see him again.
come
I would
on,
love
I need to try and email TFCon saying, is there any chance you could get Fred Tatasciore as a last minute guest in for Sunday? So I need to, yeah. Oh my God,
He's the best.
that's awesome.
Is he still up north? Is he still living up north?
He's
or is
still
he-
in Washington, yeah.
I couldn't believe this. I would fly down, like as a regular thing
He
to
still
just
works at
teach.
UCLA. Yeah,
That's fabulous. So
every
great.
Wednesday he'd fly down
He's the
because he
guy.
just
He's the guy, man.
That's
He's
such
the
a
one.
small word. That's a small world, though. I
Oh, it
never
is.
knew.
By
That's
the way, it is a
insane.
small world. It is. When you get into theater or
Uh-huh.
animation or even on
Hmm.
camera,
Hmm.
I mean, like, or all the stuff that we all do,
Yeah.
television, and radio, even, it's like, it kind of becomes a small, you're like, I knew him at Upright Citizens Brigade. I knew you. Like, you start to recognize, like, wait a minute, we did a thing,
Yeah.
um, and it's even like crazy things. Like I went to school with Jack Black at UCLA, right? And then
Wow.
I would be auditioning with him on things, and then I always loved Tenacious D, and he's just a swell guy to this day. We'll still just the nicest dude. You can talk to him about like, hey, remember that on campus when that happened? And it's like it's a smaller world than I think people realize. And you're gonna start to see repeats.
Yeah.
Like, wait a minute.
100%.
Now
Yeah.
I'm now at the stage in my life now where a lot of the people, not the actors, because the actors are still just going, but like there's a lot of people in production who have changed jobs.
Yeah.
They're like either in head of production or they've left the business
Hmm.
or they've left and come back, or once you hit a certain age you start to kind of explore different avenues, and so you'll see like,
Yeah.
oh, I
Hmm.
was an agent, now I'm in charge of this, or I'm in this. It's like a lot of changeover.
Yeah.
But
Hmm.
that's normal. I just call it the circus. My
Yeah.
wife is a production designer, so we joke about it. It's like it's the circus. It's just like how you work it. I'm a shapeshifter. You and I are shapeshifters in the circus, right? That's
Yeah.
all.
That's so
And
cool about Scott Brownlee, though. Seriously,
I
like I'm
know that's
just.
so crazy.
Well, he knows Frank and like a lot of the other old school voice actors because he was the recording sort of engineer
He's
for the
that.
G1 cartoon.
Yeah.
So he knows
Yeah.
Frank. He knew I think some of his usually Frank would because he was close friends with Frank in like the 80s sort of, because I think he did Muppet Babies as well. But yeah,
Oh,
his
sure.
Frank used to always visit his house, and he'd see his kids and stuff like that. And I'm just thinking, wow. And just he moved to Washington in the mid 90s, so after he finished and
Oh, he
then
did.
just yeah, and he's lived he's lived there ever since. And I'm like, so you've not met Frank since like the mid 90s? And he was like, yeah. I was like, why don't you come down and meet him at TFCon?
Yeah.
So I brought him down to TFCon, and
Oh, how
he was
cool.
like, he was absolutely speechless when he saw Scott. He was like, oh my god. And we all did it. We
Yeah.
mainly did it for Frank's birthday because
That's so
it
great.
was his birthday over the sort of like TF. I think it was the day after TFCon. It was his birthday, and I had it was him and Noel North that I persuaded to come along with me to see him.
Sure.
Noel from the Smokehouse, yeah. So that was really fun.
Yeah.
Um, mhm. Very small world.
It's a
And
tiny
speak
world. Yeah.
and speaking of small world, some of your theme park roles, I've literally been looking some of them up now. I've got a first one I got to bring up is the Country Bear musical jamboree that you recently got casted
Yes.
on. Congratulations! I know it's a bit
Thank
late,
you.
but
Are we allowed to talk about? I guess I'm allowed to talk about that
it
now, right?
is. It is because it's
Okay.
literally running at Disneyland.
Okay. It's
Disney
so
World.
funny. I never know. Yeah, sometimes when I'm allowed to talk about stuff like that. Yeah, Thurl Ravencroft, the voice actor.
Yeah,
Like,
open
a lot
July.
of times I had to try to do that guy's voice,
I was
and it's
gonna
like,
ask. Yeah,
yeah, he
July
was the
2024.
real bass tone, a real
Yeah.
bass. I'm a baritone. This guy, and I can do bass, but like this guy is like, yeah, he was amazing. And
Yeah.
oh, come on, Henry, what the heck are you doing? Like it
That
was
is
all that kind of,
awesome.
yeah. And
Yeah.
I grew up. Anytime you work on a Disney attraction like that,
Yeah.
especially being a California kid, or maybe if it's the same thing if you're in Orlando. I grew up with that stuff, and so
Ooh.
it's such a treat to go in. And I remember watching as a kid going in and watching Country Bear Jamboree and all those
Aww.
the heads on the wall talking to each other. The
That's very
trophies were like,
wholesome.
"Whoa, what are you doing? Come on, let's do the show already." And it was
Yeah.
just so
Hmm.
much fun to try to embody that again.
That's really
And
wholesome.
it was, and what's neat is what they were doing. Imagineering is just, it's just beyond. What they do there is incredible, and it's kind of an honor for me because my stepdad was an Imagineer. His name was Jim Poole. He was an Imagineer for many years, and,
Wow.
and so like to go there and try to like do some of that stuff, it's like kind of a real treat, like, oh, isn't that cool, but yeah, that voice, my gosh, yeah, it's like just to get down low and play around. And what I love what they do with what the Imagineers do so well is they take the spirit of the thing, kind of like what Mickey Tunes or Micktoons have done, we're taking the spirit of the thing, but we're bringing it into today. So you haven't lost it, but we're updating it and putting it in a way that people will appreciate it now, And I thought that was really cool.
I'm looking for Jim online. I just searched him up. You said he was your stepdad, right?
Jim Poole, yeah. I
can't find him. I can't.
Yeah, I don't think he has one online. Poole. Yeah, no, I don't think he has an online presence. Yeah. He passed away a while ago, so.
Okay. So opening date July 17th, 2024, which was the musical jamboree. So it's been open for, I'd say,
that's good.
A good few months.
I hear, I'm not out there very much. I mean, I go to Orlando maybe once a year. I would like to go more often, but it's whenever I do a convention or something. So
I've never been.
Oh, it's fabulous. Yeah,
I really want to go. Yeah,
it's worth it. It's totally worth it. I mean, I would love to go and see everything there. I'm never there long enough to do stuff, but I would love to go check it all out.
Well, I was going to ask you, what was it like to take over from Phil Ravenscroft? But it seems that you've already answered that question for me.
Yeah, well, it was an honor. That guy, when the moon climbs high over the dead oak tree, that guy had that voice, and I love, they're great. No, it was like
Tony the Tiger.
He had that guy had the voice, and he really was such an instrument. He really was.
He died like 20 years ago. Yeah,
20 years ago.
It was like 91. Yeah. I'm literally just looking at his page now.
Come on, Henry, what are you doing? Let's do a show already. Awesome. For gosh sakes. Come on now. My better half is gone.
Oh my goodness. I was literally going to say to myself, oh yeah, he's the voice. You call it Frosted Flakes over there. We call them Frosties.
Frosties.
Yeah, Frosted Flakes. I love them. I am trying to think of other American stuff. We have Cocoa Pops, which is Cocoa Puffs in America.
Cocoa Puffs. Okay.
Cocoa Puffs. I'm cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. Is that what they used to say? I'm cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs.
Oh yeah, cuckoo for Cocoa. That was who was that?
Cuckoo for Cocoa.
Jim hold on. McCann.
Sonny the Cuckoo Bird. Hold on. Who voiced him? Come on.
I know.
Come on. Who voiced him? Oh man, who's gonna find out first?
No.
Okay.
I want to make sure I'm right because I know that it was.
Well, I've got two potential answers here, so whichever one you go with.
What we got?
First voiced by Chuck McCann from 1962 to 1978.
Yeah, it was Chuck.
And has since been voiced by Larry Kenny from
Thundercats.
Great. Yeah.
Oh, great. Okay. It was Chuck is the guy I knew. Chuck I used to love.
Chuck McCann, yes.
Did you ever get to meet him or no?
He passed away 2018. So that was the year I sort of got into the Disney afternoons. So,
he was Chuck McCann was the funniest dude. And he would do Mark Evaner's panel or do the cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. Go, come on, kids, this cereal's gonna kill you. He would do it's got too much sugar. But he'd be like, he was just such a funny guy. He would always make up names for everybody. Hey Chief, Sonny, Captain, blah blah blah. And, people like, you don't know anyone's name. Sure I do. You're Chief, you're Tito, you're blah blah blah. Anyway, wonderful. He would say everything's wonderful. Yeah, he was a real talent. But yeah, I remember Cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, and he was Ben Grimm. A lot of time for Thing. He was Thing. Yeah.
Yes.
So he and I would, as Hulk and Thing, we'd start yelling at each other. It's clobbering time. Yeah, come here, Rock. Yeah.
That's so awesome. Were you did you ever get to be on a Cartoon Voices panel with him? Did Mark ever?
Oh yeah. No.
Okay.
I actually don't think I was on the panel with him, but I was at the time. For me, it would have been I was an audience member. I think what a lot of people understand.
Yes.
Guys like me would go to these panels as a fan, right?
Yeah.
This is what I try to explain to people. It's like Yeah, I am you. I was the guy that used to go and show up and like watch, Maurice
Yeah,
LaMarche and Chuck
because
McCann and Greg Berger and go,
yeah,
man,
I
that's
was
really cool.
I was sitting next to Greg on the front row for your Cartoon Voices panel last year.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
so
And so
yeah.
so I would watch Chuck, and then it was finally there was a little crossover period where I just started to get known, and he was still doing stuff, and so he and I would joke around a lot. Chuck
Oh,
was the CESD guy. So
oh,
he
was
would,
he? Oh,
yeah. So he'd go
awesome.
in with some guys who were they're all vaudevillians. I mean, they're all hilarious. So in the waiting room was a show. It really was. The waiting room was like a complete comedy show.
Yeah,
I mean, and I'm sitting in there. We don't have that anymore. Where
no.
we show up and in the old days, you would show up at your agency, sign in, and wait for hours to get yourself recorded.
Yeah.
That's how it
Mm-hmm.
was. And
Yeah.
occasionally then you'd have these legends come in. You're like, wait, I know you. you're
I know you
you.
too.
Yeah, exactly. And they're like, oh, all this kind of
And when they
wonderful
say,
stuff.
"Oh yeah, I know of you," I'm like, that's when you go, "Oh my gosh, that's so
Oh, it's
cool."
crazy when
I
that happens.
know. Yes. I
Yeah,
remember
it's weird. It's weird.
yeah.
It happened to me many years ago where I think I was doing hey gang, I think I was doing a Frank Welker impression, and Mark Evanier goes, yeah, he does you. I'm like, like, wait, what? you know?
Was it? I think was it. It's a similar story that Mark Evanier told me. It was like I think one day you decided to like pull a prank. I think like Frank was late to a session or something, so you decided to jump in, start doing Garfield's voice, and then Mark said to Frank when he arrived, "Oh yeah, we've decided to replace you as Garfield" or something like that. I think it was a prank.
That might have been someone else, but that did happen. Yeah, or some
Yeah,
kind of
it
weird.
might have been. It might have been Greg Burke. I don't know. Greg
Might have been,
Burger. I don't
but
know.
it was
I
like
can't remember.
everyone was in on the joke, like
Yeah, yeah,
when you
yeah,
do and when you
yeah.
do that kind of thing, you got to do it really badly.
And Frank was a
You know?
CSD guy as well. Frank was with
Yeah.
CSD for a good few years. I can't wait
Oh
to
yeah,
tell
yeah, he
him.
was. He's
I can't
still
wait to tell
friends.
him.
He's
Yeah.
still friends with Kathy and everybody. Yeah.
Oh, I can't wait to tell him when I see him next week.
Oh yeah,
It's gonna be
please.
so much fun. I know. Other theme parks. So I mean, I went to Disneyland back in July before I came down to San Diego, and I'm just looking at your theme park stuff, and I completely forgot you were on Guardians of the Galaxy, the drop tower thing that used to be Twilight Zone,
Yeah,
and you're the safety spiel narrator from in Space Mountain, and you were on Star Tours. I'm thinking, I went on all of those.
I know it's so weird
I love
because like
Space Mountain.
Space
There's a
Mountain was fun for me because I went on
oh
that with
goodness,
my
okay.
grandfather
Oh,
when I
okay.
was a little kid when it first came out, and I was it was late '70s, and
Hmm.
I went in there, and it was like he I was a young kid, and
Yeah.
he was not a real roller coaster guy. And he nice Italian guy from New York, old guy, like, well, let's you're gonna love it. Let's go on the thing. And we got in line, and the line is forever, right?
Yeah.
And he's looking at all the chicken exit, stuff like if you have back problems or psychological problems, or you can't not ride. He's like, why would you want to ride this ride if you have problems? Why?
Yeah.
Oh, you know what? This is taking a long time. Grandma's waiting. We should go up. I'm like, what? And he literally took my hand and walked past all these people in line, and I got to tell you, and I was freaking out, like, you can't do that. I was a little square, I was like, you can't do that. And he's like, no, we got to go, And I'll tell you, you get through so much faster if there's an old man with a child. No one will stop you. Like if you're a teenager trying to cut, nobody, you get beat up. This guy was like, excuse me, like, oh yes, sir. And he walked all the way up. I couldn't believe this thing. Got on the ride. And I'm like, is this okay? And everyone was cool. Got on this poor ride. And then we're going up. And he's like, I hear him behind me going, oh no. Oh no. No. I'm like, Grandpa, it's going to be okay. Don't worry. Oh no. And then it was just like whoosh, 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 in the dark. It's one of the greatest roller coasters, right? Everything happening. I don't think we had the Dick Dale music, that you have now. Like, it was just like,
I know, yeah. And like
I
the
love
lighting
that stuff.
effects and stuff.
And so we go to the this poor guy shows at the end his glasses are all skewed. My poor grandfather's like, oh, okay, okay. And he gets out and he sees his wife. He sees my grandmother. She's like laughing. She's like, what did you do, Oliver? Why are you going on a ride like that? Oh, I don't know. So it was really fun for me to do this voice because it's the
Hmm.
most normal voice I've ever done. It's not like, I'm known for doing characters or
Yeah.
now I'm more known for doing regular folks like, father figures and stuff. But all my
Yeah.
life, it's been like, and now I will destroy you. It's more like, welcome back, space travelers. And
I
one,
can't believe I didn't
10,
recognize you.
9, 8, 7. It was like that kind of like, and there's a,
I can't believe I didn't recognize you. Seriously,
well,
I
you
didn't
can't because they
recognize
don't,
your voice.
well, it's not really noticeable. Do you know what I mean? Like it's very,
Yeah.
it doesn't sound like
Or
me.
like I didn't know beforehand.
It's a
That's
really
what I'm
bright
trying to say.
version of, it's a really happy version of me. Like I don't talk like this normally, but like it's so it was very it was just so much fun to that happens, and then
Yeah.
again with the Star Tours was another one where that
That
was
was very advanced.
my stepdad had worked on that ride because it was
Yeah.
originally it was Journey Through Inner Space, where you would go on that ride and you would shrink to a molecular size. It was a very interesting sci-fi ride, and they took it
Yeah. I
out. And
think it's the one you're
I kind of
talking
wish they'd instill it again, but and for you old schoolers out there, you'll know what I'm talking about. But like Star Tours was just so cool because but it only had one version,
Yeah.
at the time. And then when I got involved with it many years later, it has many stories. So I play like a Wookiee, a robot. I play the Gungan that tries to get you through the center core.
Yeah.
You have to get through this part of the star system. That guy. And it was just so weird to hear that, back.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
or going then to meet Darth Vader, because I play Darth Vader's voice when you meet Vader. And
Wow.
there's a guy in a costume who is triggering, or all those responses are happening, right? And
Uh-huh. Yeah.
it was such a trip for me to meet I'm my own worst critic. So when I hear, I'm like trying to make sure I had the James Earl Jones, make
Yeah.
sure that I did properly. And I'm listening to him like, I don't know if I did it. And then you meet Vader. By the way, that's an intimidating thing. You forget, like when you
Yeah.
watch the movies, how meeting this truck, like is very like, oh, that's really intimidating. He's like, and I knew immediately because I'd done 1,000 lines as Vader, like what to say, So I
Mm.
had my wife there. Like, my lord, immediately you have to go Pinewood Studios. My
You're
lord,
just like, what?
I have found the traitor, my lord. Like she is here. And it's like,
Oh,
good.
that's so
See to
funny.
it that she no longer. You have to do the David Prowse hand. And it's like, see
Yes.
to it that she will be taken under custody or whatever. Like he really had an answer for me. I threw my wife under the bus there. It was terrible. But it was really cool to hear back going, wow, okay, they did I'm amazed at the technology that they have, that they can fire off the right sentences, and do just how they act. The person in the suit is already kind of a big deal, like to do that. We
Yeah.
had recorded 1,000 lines as Vader.
Wow.
Vader, I forget. And then we found out that it was hard for the little kids because like when you meet Vader, there's two versions. There's the adult and the teen version where it's like, I sense one of you has betrayed us, and like you're
Hmm.
gonna suss out who is the Jedi, and
Yeah. Yeah.
now that's great for a teenager, right? But if you're 6, that's horrifying, right? So,
Yeah.
so we had to record a whole other pass of kid-friendly Vader,
Oh, that's
just like
awesome.
Amber, or we didn't specialize it. The Force is strong with you. When you've
Okay, good.
completed your training, you will join me. Like it was all like the kinder,
Yeah.
more gentler Vader, not the guy that killed a bunch of young Jedi.
Oh
It was the guy
no,
it was
no.
the guy who was like, the Force is strong with you. You will join me, and together
Yeah.
we will work together. Like I'm going to
Yeah.
encourage the
Yeah.
kids because they were like, we got to have one that's for kids.
You
It's
just
not like
you just leave the filler name in there, just like, oh,
that'd be
insert name here. The force is strong.
insert name here.
And
Yeah,
you're like,
yeah,
huh?
like,
You're like, huh?
so
Did it break down or
was
something?
what? Please,
I-
rare. Yeah, but like, no, he was. it was really fun to like try to do that version of Vader, like kind of the more cooler version.
Yeah.
And we had to do a bunch of those voices, and that works really well for the kids.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then Groot. Uh, I am Groot. I got a chance to do the little mini Groot, the baby Groot show.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I love Groot, so we had to do a lot of Groot stuff for that ride as well.
Disneyland, Guardians of the
And
Galaxy.
then soaring across Soarin', I did. I think I'm a couple of skiers going woohoo. It's like
I'm trying to
I
think
think that's
what
right.
song did I get when I went on Guardians of the Galaxy. I think it might have been Born to Be Wild by Steppenwolf that we got, because
Sure.
it usually I think it picks from like 6 different tracks, and it's
Yeah,
randomized.
it would be from Quill's like playbook, his tape.
Yeah,
You know what I
yeah,
mean? It would be that era. You know what I mean? Yeah, totally.
yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
I was
It
hoping
was
good,
classic rock. It's always classic rock, isn't
Yeah,
it? Yeah.
yeah. I think
Yeah.
did they do it for the Aerosmith roller coaster as well? I'm not sure.
What's that?
The one I don't know if they did the same thing for the Aerosmith Rock and Roller Coaster in Florida.
Oh, I don't
That
know.
just did
Probably.
randomized playlist or randomized Aerosmith songs. But yeah, this is literally just out of the blue because I literally just searched up my name and I found this. There's a website called Famous Birthdays, and they sort people out by popularity. So you're on there. It says most popular 19,809 place in most popular. June 13th actor, you're in 8th place. 56-year-old Gemini, you're in 7th place. First name Fred, you're in 13th place.
Wow. Now, do they have the year right? What year do they have?
Let's have a look. They have June 13th, 1968.
Oh, they have me right. Yeah,
It's right because it says 67 on Google.
It does, and I'm like, by the way, it's so funny because I love Wikipedia and I use them for everything. I'm a contributor to Wikipedia. I love it, but
Same here.
you cannot change things. Like and so I'm looking. I'm like, you've made me older. You don't do that to me. Nobody cares. But it's just really funny. My friends look me up like, I didn't know you were born in 67. I'm like, I'm not. I think there's some people that have me as like June 15th, 1967. I'm like, no, no, I know. It's just what happens is if one person gets something wrong, in a journal, whatever, and that becomes fact, which is kind of a bigger thing. And by the way, I'm not disparaging Wikipedia because I'm not.
No, not at all, no.
I'm not important enough for that fact to be right, but like for real, but like it really goes to show you, like how you don't know even if you look things up, that's always like, oh, gotta fix that, or I don't think that's necessarily true, So but that's funny. So 13th, I don't understand so
I think you just get each
person's rating.
Each person's page has like a boost button, and you just click that. So I guess
that's hilarious. Well, I'm honored
everything.
I'm honored to be on anything. You know what I mean? Like, literally, I have a lot of titles I've worked on. I always joke with that, like with Tom Kenny. It's like, you might have the most. I know, I love him, but you have like the most.
Not met him.
If you have the most, you will. But like the most, he'll love you. The most. It's funny. You have like so many titles you've worked on, but it's like, remember, there's quality and there's quantity. I've just worked on like a lot of stuff because I'm cop number 2. I'm guy number 5. I've done so many things over the years, so it's like it accumulates, over the time. You're like, wait, what was that? But I'm just very lucky at all that I'm playing. I'm just so grateful.
100%.
I'm just so grateful to be doing this at all. It's
really,
yeah.
Let's see who's on here. Famous Freds. Okay, we'll start with this. Go on then.
Famous Freds.
Yeah, there's literally this Famous Freds. It's literally, I'm not kidding. It's like, okay, no idea. They add TikTok and YouTube stars on here, so like I don't know who half these people are. They got TikTok star.
I'm an Alfred. I'm an Alfredo actually.
Ooh.
Fred Molina. He's Freddy, but he's an Alfred. He's an Alfredo.
Awesome. Fred Rogers is number 4.
I love Fred Rogers.
Fred Armisen is 5.
I love
don't know
him
who
too.
that is. Don't know who that is.
Oh, you know Fred Armisen, don't you?
Oh no, I do. I'm just saying I don't know. It's some TikTok star after then it's Fred Savage, and then it's
Fred
football
Savage.
thing. Fred Astaire is actually one place above you.
Well, I would think Fred Astaire.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think one place above. I would think he'd be like 100.
Yes, he's 12.
Freddie Mercury.
Actually, is
Like,
he on there? I think it's just like
gotta
famous
be.
people with just with Fred, right? I'm actually tempted. Mercury.
Freddie
No?
Mercury. That's crazy.
56-year-old Geminis. That's very specific. Very specific. I don't know. Oh, hang on. Kylie Minogue is 2.
Oh, wait a minute. Who's the I'll tell you who's born my day. The Gray, the artist, the musical artist. It's probably in there. Hold on here.
Andy Cohen.
Who's that wonderful musician? Is it David Gray?
David Guetta?
No. I'll get it right here. Yeah, it's got to be David Gray.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, June 13th. David Gray.
Oh, awesome.
David Peter Gray.
That's
Fabulous
awesome.
musician. I'll take it.
I'm on June 13th now. It says Chris Evans is number 1. Actors born June 13th.
Oh, yeah, Chris Evans. Yeah, that's right. Chris
Tim
Evans,
Allen is 3rd.
Tim Allen's, I think, my day. I think.
Yeah.
Paul. Who was the? So funny.
Paul Walker's brother, Cody Walker.
Malcolm
McDowell is June 13th as well.
Yes, we actually share it. Yeah, he's Malcolm McDowell.
Oh, wow. Awesome. Paul Lind. Yeah. I didn't know that.
Paul Lind. That's who I was trying to look up. Paul Lind.
Oh, was it? Oh, what? David, where did you get that from?
Paul Lind. No. Yeah, Paul Lind and Malcolm McDowell. We're all crazy people born that day.
Oh, my goodness.
Laurie Anderson, I think, is born around then. She's
one of my favorite
performance artists.
Yeah.
I think I forget, she's around there. Yeah. We're all crazy, folks.
I'm trying to find it. Wait, I had something in my cupboard. I'm trying to find it. I've got to try. Oh, my hair's gone a bit funny there. Got to use the flashlight. I've got to show you this. I feel absolutely awful for not bringing this up before. It's at the back of my cupboard. Oh, come on.
That's all right.
I'm gonna have to slink down here. Actually, that's
He's gone. Where did she go?
I have my Polaroid camera. I'm taking this with me. It's actually Polaroid things. That's on my.
That's a smart idea.
I know.
How's your dad? How's your family? How's everybody?
Oh, he's doing great. He's
great.
He's just doing great.
Tell him I said hi. Tell everybody I said hi.
I will do. He wanted to.
Hopefully I'll see you when you guys get out here.
Yeah, he actually was like to me. Yeah, ask Fred. Yeah, to say we'll take him for a drink when we're out there at some point. Yeah. If you're in Marina Del Rey, I mean, we'll be in Marina Del Rey for like the last few days. I'll say. This is what I was going to show you. I completely forgot you were in this, and my brother actually lent me after I purchased it on my Xbox. My brother says to me, "Oh, why didn't you ask me? I've got the full Ezio collection." Your Uncle Mario.
Oh, it's me, Mario, right?
Yeah, I was like, what?
Oh, that was the craziest. It was such a fun game to work on because we had a wonderful dialect coach to keep us in the Italian, to get it totally proper right for the accent, and for telling the. And they had to do facial capture. I think.
It was a facial capture. Oh my god!
Well, so here's the thing. It was terrible though because here's what happens. Okay. I am blind. I mean, I can see, but like glass. I didn't realize I should probably have worn contacts that day. They wanted to get all the stuff from my facial, and I could not make that cue card big enough for me. For the distance we needed to have and everything.
Yeah.
So as my character Mario, I decided to take a break for lunch. I went to Starbucks and I wrote my own cue cards. But remember, it's a rainy day. I'm in a trench coat. I'm at a Starbucks and I'm writing in black pen, the death of the many will be on the hands of the few, and I'm writing this furiously at a Starbucks. And I'm thinking, man, if I were a police officer, I'd be like, excuse me, sir. There a problem? Because it looked really bad. I was just like trying to get it all out,
Yeah.
And and then I couldn't believe that we were allowed to say, "It's me, Mario." It's like that's the line,
I love that.
And when I did it, I thought it was going to be an Easter egg. I thought it was going to be just like a silly outtake we were going to do. I didn't know that was going to be canon.
know, yeah.
I guess like so. It was
I
really.
love that. I really do love that. That's so cool.
Those are
I need to play.
good.
I need to
That's a.
play. Sorry,
That's
I must apologize. It does sound like I'm talking over you. I'm really sorry.
No, you're not. No, God, not at all. I don't. Hey, we can talk over each other. It's fine.
I need
Yeah,
to
my buddy
play.
Eliza Schneider's in that one. That's yeah. That's a
That
yeah. Have you
no,
have
no,
you
because
talked
like
with her?
we were at the Lou and Mickey's in San Diego with each other. You
Okay,
invited her. Yeah,
I know.
she was there.
Okay,
And then I
okay.
find out she's Rebecca. She's the voice of Rebecca. I'm like, holy
Yep.
shit! I met
Yeah.
2 Assassin's Creed, and then Nolan North's in it, and
Yeah,
Roger Craig
Nolan's.
Smith, and Cam Clark.
Yep.
I'm thinking, how did I
All my
not know
buddies.
this?
All my really all my buddies. I just love them. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Nolan's down
Yeah.
there. Cam's
Nolan's the
here.
best. Yep.
You're on. I think it's which Polaroid is it? It's
I'm inside the fridge.
it's so there. Hold on. So there's yeah. It's this one. This one's the one of all of us at the smokehouse.
Yes,
that
that was fun.
Yeah. That was very fun. That was a really good. That was a really good. Yeah. We'll have to try and do that again at some point because I think that was really lovely.
Let's do it. Yeah.
Yeah, for realsies. Yeah, let's go. For realsies, what was I saying?
You can say that.
For realsies, faux shizzle.
For faux shizzle.
How do you do, fellow kids?
Except when I do those things, I like to do like a kind of a Paul Frees. No, let's do faux shizzle. Yes, that's right, my nizzle. You know, like, like it's just.
Yeah. I've got actually, yeah, that's one thing I got to bring up. Because I remember seeing it like I think it was like during lockdown because that's when I was talking to him. The D23 character theme park panel. So you were there sitting on the panel. Peter Renaday was there. Corey Burton was there. And I'm thinking, wow, that's incredible. Did you get to meet both of them like afterwards?
Oh yeah, no, we're old friends. A lot of us are. We've known each other for many years. A lot of those guys I got a chance to know through. Again, the waiting room at CESD or projects and absolutely. So you had Peter Renaday, who's brilliant, and who else are you talking about?
Corey Burton.
Corey Burton's a good pal. Corey, have you interviewed him yet?
No, but I
really Corey is amazing. Corey is a guy that I
had him on the Bill Scott documentary, but not my podcast.
Exactly. Okay. Congratulations on that movie.
Thank you.
But yes, it's awesome. But that you do this is good. But like Corey was one of those guys I got to really go to school on because I got to work with him a few times, and he was so good about sharing information about, when you do a creature, look at the mouth and think about this and that and the other thing, and he was really like the head violinist, and but it was like so much that I gleaned so much from him, and he's such a great guy, and he's just so supportive, and also he loves the ribbon mics. He'll tell you everything about every kind of microphone you can come up with.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah,
and I love him. I loved him, by the way, in the Boba Fett series. Oh my God,
the Book of Boba Fett.
Oh, he was so good in that. He's good in everything. But what's so fun about Corey is he just looks like he's just so mild mannered and hello, blah 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 blah. And then all of a sudden he's like, and now I will kill you. He just like he pulls these things out that are just monstrously beautiful, and he's just such a treat. He's so
insane.
Great. But he's one of those guys who really is like, he studied under all the people we loved. And,
I know Hans Connery, Paul Frees, just
Dos Butler
and Dos Butler. Yes, I need to get him.
Oh yeah, and what's great about him is he'll talk with you. Like he's really like he shares information. He's really into like what we're doing. He's very very effusive and just real easy to like. Okay, let's talk about this thing. And he'll go on. It's like it's quite great actually.
Yeah,
I've learned so much from him, and he's such a truly wonderful gentleman. Yeah.
Yeah, he was
What's that?
Sorry, I didn't want to talk.
Oh, you can talk. Oh, it's okay.
When I spoke to Corey about 5 years ago for my Bill documentary, I only ended up using I'd say maybe 5 minutes of footage of him But
Sure.
the actual Skype call was 6 hours long.
Oh, sure. Oh, there
That's
you
what I was
are.
like.
That's exactly what I'm talking about. That, that's
Yeah,
exactly.
I need to get him for my show. I was gonna say like I just like because he's not with CESD, so it's not as easy as like I mean I know a lot of people I know are with CESD, so it's sort of easy to get to them
Right,
because
right, right, right.
I just go either I go directly or I mean I don't really go through the CESD agents. I know I'm under them and stuff, but I tend to go directly. I'm like yeah I'm such and such, but when they're with a different agency, yeah. So I need to try and
Yeah,
get a hold of his agents, see if he'll potentially say yes. Because I did try him a few years ago, about I think 3 years ago,
yeah,
before our last chat, and he said he'll consider it. So
yeah,
it's just a matter of just reaching out to his agents now, and just
yeah.
asking. Yeah, I'll do it. I'll do it after. Well, I mean, but yeah. Yeah. Okay, that's a. I'll do that on my own time. I don't need to dwell on it now. Yes, but yeah, just honestly, just like, what about Frank Welker? Have you got any good Frank Welker stories?
Gosh, I got so many. I mean, gosh, well, it's kind of cool because it predates me actually. My dad worked on a show called the Mike Douglas Show,
Oh, okay.
and Dinosaur Show. He worked on a few shows, and he met Frank Welker, and Frank Welker was the kind of guy who was doing stand-up comedy. He was like the man on the street guy who
Yeah.
could do whatever, and he was doing hilarious stand-up. Dinosaur
Mhm.
loved him. He was a
Oh,
really because he's not only also a great golfer, so like he would go out with a lot of those with Dinah and everybody, but he was really
Dinah, who's
for
Dinah?
Dinah Shore. You might not know. She was a singer who became a really huge talk show person way before your time. This is like the 70s.
Ah, right. Okay,
And
I've just
so before my
Googled.
time actually.
Yeah.
And but what was cool, and when I started to get into business, I think he was very kind about like, hey, let me talk to him. I'll give him some advice,
Yeah.
whatever. He was very, very, very cool about that. And I never knew to pick up on it as well because I was very shy and I didn't know what to, how I was going to do anything. But when I first started working, I go into a studio. I think it was a Scooby Doo show. And I walk into the studio and I hear a bird in the studio.
Hmm.
And I start looking around for the bird that's probably been caught in the studio.
Yeah.
And I'm looking around, and then I see there's a man who's totally messing with me. And I'm like, that's you. You are the guy who does this. And so Frank Welker's doing these bird sounds. And I was like, that's awesome. And so that was my great intro to him. And he has been nothing but a support. Like he sets the mark. He and guys like him and Rob
Yeah.
Paulson, all that, they set the mark. And he was the guy, like, without him, a lot
Yeah.
of us didn't really like. There were these great voice actors before him,
Yeah.
and then
Hmm.
he kind of was like the yeoman. He was the guy who was like
Yeah.
did everything, has more credits than you can imagine,
Yeah.
and he does
Essentially.
everything from acting to comedy to, I mean, any kind of animal noise, and not only that, but a really good attitude, like a really good,
Mm,
like solid. Well, your friends, he's just a really good person, right?
yeah.
So, um, so then uh, uh, I would be kind of just so in awe, and it was really fun being on the Scooby Show because I think one of the lines, it's like the to be or not to be of voice actors. If it weren't for these meddling kids, I would have gotten away with it, and one of those guys. But I was so shocked to see him and Shaggy, Casey Kasem at the time,
Yeah.
doing because that was my childhood, and I just was like
The top 40 radio, I think.
watching them go back and forth that I missed my line, because I was just like, and they laughed at me like, oh, yep, that happens. I'm like, oh, that's so weird to see you guys talking.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Hmm.
well, scary. Come on, man. And I'm just like, wow. And he had been so supportive on everything I'd done. Then when I got to do, this is a crazy story, and I think it's okay to tell. Uh, I was doing War for Cybertron, and I was asked to audition or at least do Megatron. And
Yeah.
I wrote back to my agent and said, by the way, because this happens sometimes, people don't realize that certain
They're
actors are
being
still doing,
recast. Yeah.
or no, or that they can ask,
Yeah.
and I said, by the way, he's Megatron. He's available. He's Megatron. And my agent Kathy said, he told me you would say that, and he gives you his blessing.
Oh, so
Frank Welker, ladies and gentlemen.
wholesome.
Yeah,
Oh.
that is a guy who I always joke, Curious George to Megatron. That's your range, right? And the fact that he did that, and for whatever reason, it might have been that they were going in a different direction, which I do a totally different Megatron than him, but because or he didn't want to do it, or there's a million, who
Yeah.
knows? Yeah, but he was totally fine, and it was like the idea that we can share that there are many Hulks, there are many, that we
Yeah.
can share, that we're allowed to share these
There's many
titles.
beasts,
There's many
George
beasts,
Boozer, Kelsey Grammer.
and don't think that I didn't use Kelsey Grammer as a template. You know what I mean? For that, you know what I mean? And so,
Yeah.
right, and so that kind of thing is I just thought, gosh, as if this guy wasn't already a class act, right?
Yeah.
And then the best one many years ago, I couldn't believe he did this. Actually, I had a show where I'm waiting, and they're all celebrities. There's everybody there, and I am trying to get. I'm doing these random little bit parts for this thing, but even the bit parts, they're just I have to audition while I'm there. They're like, well, I don't know if he can do. Can you do a surfer? Can you do the? And I'm like, whatever you want, whatever, because you get to a point as an actor, just like, I guess. I mean, this is what you hired me for. Yeah, I can do different voices, but they don't know you, so they need to audition. And right in front of the directors and in front of everybody, Frank goes, "You have to audition for everything because we just don't believe. We're not really sure you can do it." And I just felt like, thank you for saying that. Like he was sort of making fun of the process a little bit.
Yeah.
'Cause he knew what I was feeling, which was like,
Yeah.
Jesus, what do I got to do? Like, really? I've done all this stuff, but I just don't know. Can you change your voice? Can you change your voice? And he's looking at me like, this is hilarious, dude. And I was not in the position.
This guy.
I had no position to say something like that. Because I'm like, yes, whatever you need, like, and Frank was just like, no, I just don't know. And it was just like, and it sort of lightened the room. It made me just feel so like, oh, you totally get me. You get what's going on here,
Yeah.
because he goes through it too. He went through it. And, and what's great about him though, is that he's as good, if not better than he's ever been. In other words, what's great about this voice acting profession is it's not like a profession where you're like, get timed out. I mean, unless you lose your voice or your sensibilities.
Yeah. Yeah.
He is coming up. He's as good now, and if not better. He's always going to come up with new stuff. He's, as long as he wants to do it, he's as great as he ever been, if not more so. And I think that's really exciting.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times it's hard when you work in certain jobs where, sorry, sir, you can't play trumpet anymore, or you can't sing opera, or you can't, like there's a certain point where, you run out, because it's just physically too much. And even though this is a physical job, but like he's rocking it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
He
rocks it now. He literally rocks it now, as good, if not better than ever. And I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. Gives guys like us a lot of hope. That gives us a lot of like, hey man, I like that. I'll take that track. That's
100%.
it's a really cool thing. And such a genuinely good guy.
Yeah. 100%.
Yeah. We're all better for knowing him in a way. Yeah,
my life got better when I first met him.
Yeah, because you're like, oh, okay, this is.
Anyway, with Bill Scott.
It's just real.
Yeah.
It's just like, let's just be. And it's generosity too. It's like a musicianship you have when you work with people who like to work with you and like to, you're only adding to the thing, not taking away or being in competition or.
Yeah.
It's really important. It's really important.
Well, just real quick, I have a few good Frank Welker stories, but there is sort of like there's a lot that stick out to me. Well, one of them is that he had a Q&A page on his website a good few years ago. And someone asked him about working with Bill Scott, and he was like, he explained how he worked with Bill and stuff like that. But he was like, if you haven't already, check out Amber Jones. Google, she did a
Oh,
wonderful documentary on Bill Scott. I'm like, wow, okay. And
wow.
then when I met Susan Blue at TF Nation a few years ago, after one of her
I
panels,
love her too.
me too. I'm
Yeah.
probably going to be seeing her next week, most likely if she's free. But
She was on
yay!
that show where he did that. Where he went,
Oh right, wait, which show was that?
I can't remember. It was a movie, I think. Yeah. Anyway, go on. It was a
Hmm.
long time ago. But yeah,
Yeah,
she's
yeah.
amazing.
So I went
Such
up
a
to her.
gift.
Oh no, she's a gem. And I went up to her and she was like, "Oh yeah, Frank wanted to say hi. By the way, I told him that I was meeting you." And I was like, "Yeah." And she's like, "Yeah, just yeah." And she said, "Yeah, check out a documentary on Bill Scott and also say hi to her dad. Please, you got to meet her dad as well. He's really cool."
Yes.
I'm like, wow, okay, that's really that's a yeah,
That's really
and
cool.
and he gives out the best hugs. Seriously,
He
it's
did
like
what?
just he gives out the best hugs. It's like being toasted by a warm marshmallow.
That's right.
It's
That's right.
toasted warm marshmallow. It's
It's
so
true.
good.
That's really
Yeah,
true. Yeah. He's
yeah.
genuinely he means it, and
It's
he's
yeah,
and
really
he's
sweet.
got the right perspective on it.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
guys
just
like
like
Nolan North and I, who are coming in under his,
yeah,
we all
hmm
just get to go, yeah, that's right.
yeah,
That's the way to
yeah,
that's how to look at it.
yeah,
That's how you play the how to do it. And what's really fun too is that now he's doing uh conventions because he wasn't doing that for years.
no, I think it was
I mean
Peter Quill who convinced him.
Maurice LaMarche tried to got him on the phone during Mark Evaniers' panel, I think once, and had everybody scream, like, come, join us, and they was like, no, I'm not good. He didn't want to do it, didn't want to do it. And I think a lot of it is it's a lot,
He's very humble.
he's very humble, and also it's panels are great, but like conventions can be a grind. And also when you're him, uh it's gonna be you're busy,
Yeah,
and like, I mean, I go now when I see him at panels, he's got like a conveyor belt of like signatures going. Like, I always go over to say hi to him and I couldn't even get in I didn't want to bother him, because he was just like,
yeah,
and it's in I mean, I also know on camera folks who love going, but they can't be seen. Because,
no,
like, what do you do if you're Lawrence Fishburne and walking around? Like at the
yeah,
convention. Like,
yeah,
it's not. They're fans too. They want to go and see the artists that they like and all this stuff. But like, you're swarmed.
yeah,
It's like,
yeah,
and I know it's nice to be the Beatles for a second or whatever, but if you're
yeah,
if you're a people pleaser, like we all tend to be, you feel
yeah,
bad. You feel bad if
yeah,
you don't get to everybody. I feel
yeah.
bad if I don't get to do something. It's not about the money at that point. It's not about,
No,
you know what I mean? It's like it's
that's
about
spending time with the fans. Yeah,
connecting. And if you don't, and you feel like, God, I really am here to say hello and thank you, and if you don't do it, you feel like, you want to hit everybody if you can, and so
yeah,
it's a big job. It's a fun
yeah.
job, but it's a big one.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
agree. Yeah, that's another person who I'd like to meet. I only saw him on one of the panels at San Diego, but he didn't really stick around afterwards, so I didn't get a chance to meet him. Maurice LaMarche. I've never really connected with him before. I mean, we're
Oh,
friends
you
on social
well,
media, but
it's a matter of time. Yeah,
I
you'll
know.
yeah, he's another guy, who's one of my heroes. And he truly makes me laugh. Like, when I do shows with him, he makes choices that are just so good because he does these combo impressions of, like, Kirk Douglas mixed with, Hans
Yeah,
Connery. So, like, he will mix things up and make something new. And a lot of us do Orson Welles, but I got to hear his Orson Welles every time. He's just, and there's kindness behind those eyes. Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
he has been another guy who's been nothing but a support, and
yeah,
there was a time where I became Yosemite Sam and didn't know that he was my predecessor. Okay, because they just sent
Yeah.
out the auditions. I didn't know,
Yeah. Or sometimes
like,
they have
and
two or three people playing him at the same time.
exactly. And
Character at
I
the same
was
time.
like, and I finally was saying, wait a minute, who? This is what happens when you're a guy like me. Like, okay, wait a minute, who lost who is they're like handing me all this stuff to listen to try to match. That's when I went,
Mm,
wait a minute, who am I? What happened? Because it's one thing if
yeah.
I'm just starting, but another thing if, like, let's just say he was asking for more money, or I would never undermine him. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I would never go in and so I didn't know any of this. So I was like, oh dear God. And then I
Yeah.
met up with him. And he just said, Fred, I can't wait to hear what you're going to do. I had to leave it because it was killing my voice, and I'm working for Lexus right now. And, and so, and he could not have been more kind and supportive. And what's so fun now when we do panels together, we just do dueling Sams,
Aw.
you know, oh, now hold on a minute there. I like the cut of your jib. Well, I like the cut of your jib, and it's like, and he's one of those guys who really is, he's the brain. He really is. He has a big brain and a big heart. He really
100%.
is. He
Yeah.
is one of my favorites.
Yeah.
And again, ain't going out anywhere. He's as good
No.
now. He's amazing. And he
Yeah.
kills us. He literally slays us all. He really does, in a good way. Slays us all. That sounds terrible, but you know what I mean.
Definitely one of the people
He's that guy. So it's a matter of time before you
Yeah.
see him. He's a very accessible person. He's not like,
Yeah,
they're
we're
all real.
friends.
They're all real.
We're friends with each other, like on social media and stuff. And he did reach out to me after the Futurama panel that he did at San Diego. But like every time I've asked him to sort of like, oh, do you want to come on my podcast? I've never heard back. So I don't know what it is. But yeah, him and like people like Tom Kenny and
Yeah.
Jeff Bennett, who Colette actually has reached out to Jeff, and he was like, yeah, I'll get in touch with Amber.
Again,
So
all pals of mine. I'll give them a shout out to. I will shout out you to them too. Just to say hey. But yeah, no,
sure, no,
I think a lot of it is life. A lot of it is life and jobs. You just get really. A lot of people don't realize you get really busy doing this stuff.
yeah. What
And
about
no, go ahead.
what about I don't really know a lot of people who are personal friends with her. What about Tress McNeil? Do you know Tress McNeil or not?
Oh, I do. I couldn't tell you. The only thing that's amazing, she is busier than anything. And
Ooh.
what's so great about her is she just really gets like, she is busy with sessions. Like they were talking about like doing live shows, going out, doing, Animaniac stuff and all this,
Yeah,
whatever.
well, she only does
And
like
she just
two
said, she
stuff.
goes, look, man, I just do. And she loves doing that, but she's like, she's just a real like working actor.
Wow,
You
I
know what I mean?
need her for
And
my Bill
and
book.
I love her dearly. I don't stay in touch with her like I do like
Oh, right, okay.
Jeff,
Okay.
but I think she's amazing. And
Oh, right, okay.
but if I see her, I don't think I have her contact. But anyway, she's an
That's okay
incredible
if you don't.
person. But she is really like, yeah, she's the deal. She's really good. Yeah, she told me a while back. She's like, "This is my life is sessions. I go in and I do these sessions. That's my, So she's a real working person. A lot of these people you're talking about are busy, but that doesn't mean that they can't, do this, because we worked it out and it's good. But I know it was a long time. But we've been planning this for a while.
Yeah.
We've
Yeah, I was
we've
gonna say.
we've hung out more than we've actually done the
Yes,
podcast.
I know, it's absolutely insane. But I'm so glad that we finally sort of like come
Yeah.
together and actually done it. Because I remember like I had to cancel it first time because I was actually out at a theme park the whole day. I was like,
Oh
I'm
yeah, we
probably
had
not gonna get back in
you and
time.
I had too many dang things happening.
Yeah.
Is there anything that I can answer or be of service to, like during this, like any questions that would be good for anybody out there, that you would, if anything I can answer that would be of interest?
Well, there is one question. I guess it would be my final question. Sorry, I'm just doing a little doodle here. I'm just literally
You
just
don't have to.
drawing. I'm drawing a little bang.
Oh, hey man. That's
I
so
don't know.
that's
I
really
just
good.
I don't know. I just thought I do a
That's
lot. I'm doing
that's
art and
really
stuff.
good. Hey, Amber, that's all right. That's good.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, so just like I was just thinking, wow. Yeah, my final question really is just if you got a piece of advice that you would give or that you love giving to people who are sort of starting out in the voiceover business.
Yeah.
Mhm.
One thing is, if you want to do voice acting,
Yeah.
and you've heard this before, so forgive me, a lot of this is going to be kind of pedantic and some of it might not be, but
Hmm.
acting is the key. Study
Yeah.
your acting, study your improv, study your singing, study dialects, study theater. Improv
Hmm.
is always great too. Just as much,
Yeah.
'cause that's really what the job is. Then the other part is the vocal artist part is record yourself a lot. Um,
Hmm.
Try different things. Yeah, I use the tape recorder, use your phone, use a voice
Yeah.
memo.
Hmm.
Just think of it like you're playing an instrument, like a larynx, right? We're playing a larynx. Think of
Yeah.
like I'm going to practice guitar. That person I met at the coffee shop really influenced me. I love that voice. You're
Yeah.
as an actor, you're always collecting. Uh, you know, was it Bill Nye? What did he do for Pirates of the Caribbean? Where he's like that bold, do you fear death? That character came out of a guy he met who was a Scottish guy.
Yeah.
Just like on a
Yeah.
train, whatever. Just collect as much as you can, practice, hear how your voice print sounds, practice reading out loud. But really, theater is the main thing. Okay, get your
Yeah.
acting skills because really your job is a voice actor. So we have to know characters, even if you're reading copy for an ad or a narration. You have to have a point of view. So
Yeah.
think of like, what character am I? Who am I? What do I want? Where am I going? Where was I? Doesn't mean you have to go a detail account, but like just
Yeah.
really try to like put yourself in a real place. Okay.
Yeah.
Um, and then try the hard thing for me then when I was starting out was trying to get off the page and make it as real as possible,
Yeah.
and like be in the scene because the theater of the mind. A lot of times, like in theater or in film or TV, we're allowed to look at props, have costumes, we've
Yeah.
rehearsed. So by the
Uh-huh.
time I'm doing a play with you, those lines that are coming out of me are the most natural thing I can think of,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
You don't get that luxury sometimes in voice acting. So try to find a way to quickly connect to whatever reality is in the scene. Okay, that's
Yeah.
it. Then
Hmm.
the general thing is remember you're an artist.
Hmm.
Okay, and it doesn't matter what your job is. If you are
Hmm.
changing tires, washing windows, flipping burgers, doing whatever, it doesn't matter what you're making your money at. You decide you're going to be an artist who works in a library or works in other words, you don't have to worry about just know that that's your path,
Yeah.
whatever it is. So don't
Hmm.
veer from that. You have to really love this work because it's
Yeah.
too hard on your soul if you don't like it. It's not just a really good job,
Yeah.
because it's too hard on you because you get
Yeah.
rejected a lot.
Hmm.
And
Oh, 100%.
find your love in it.
Hmm.
Find your love in it, and I know some people say don't have a plan B, whatever. I don't like to give too many rules about that because sometimes you just have to have
Yeah.
economics, okay? But
Yeah.
like whatever you do, find a job that you can do while you're doing your thing. What's nice about voice acting is, I would advise everybody. Okay, here's what's nice about voice acting. It doesn't have to always interfere with everything else you're doing. Sometimes on camera, those auditions and everything, you do a lot of work and never get hired. Like you just are trying to,
Yeah.
and it's all about how well you fit with that person on
Yeah.
screen. And all
Hmm.
there's a lot of things that aren't up to you. Okay.
Yeah. Hmm.
But just keep that going. And I would, uh, yeah, you just keep going with that. I had another idea too. It's just like you have a plan B maybe, but really if that's what you really want to do, just stay with it. Learn as much as you can, record as much as you can. Now it's kind of fun because you can make things like you're doing, where it's just like we've got an open mic now, we've got YouTube, we've got TikTok, we got things where we
Yeah.
can create our own open mic night, I call it, whereas before it was not as easy.
Yeah.
And so just create as much as you can and
Yep.
never stop growing. Take the classes. And remember too that it's going to be you. You can't be
Yeah.
the next Maurice LaMarche.
There we go. Okay, right.
Oh, we're back on. We're back on.
Yes, we're back on. It cut out because I had no room on my PC.
I know. It's because I'm blabbing too much. Anyway, back in 1978. No, we're just talking about what advice for actors, for voice actors particularly. Yeah, just practice. Keep your love of it. Just know that it's a career. It's not a job. In other words, you're going to get a lot of rejections, and just keep finding your love into it and know that it's going to be just your connection to the work. You can't be the next so-and-so, be the next you, do your thing, do your story, and know that you're an artist. That's the life you're going to lead. So whatever you end up doing for work or whatever, just keep that in mind, that like, okay, this is it. Then the other thing I wanted to mention is, and this might not be for everybody, but I've noticed this for me. I think if I were to do it over again, I would have done more on camera. I would have kept the acting, the other acting stuff going. I'll tell you why, because this business really loves people who are on film or camera. Don't be afraid of going out for that stuff. I know so many times people are like specializing in voice acting, and that's kind of what I ended up doing. But I find at this point in my life, I am sort of, now it's very rare that I could get a part on something, like a big movie or something, because I'm not famous, right? And whereas Japan, for example, the voice acting is so respected, they have concerts. It's easier for a voice actor to get on camera, you know what I mean? Because they have a different perspective on it. Hollywood is Hollywood. In America and in UK, Hollywood, it goes the other way. So don't be afraid of getting yourself out there and getting some training and getting on stage or getting on camera. Keep whatever it is that got you into this originally. If you're a stand-up comedian or a musician, that's great. Just keep that rolling if you can, because that is and music, obviously, and improv and comedy, that's completely useful in this job. If you're a singer or play music, this is a very musical job, So I would say just keep that going. But even if that's not your jam, just know that, like, okay, there's a lot of work out there, and just keep striving for it, and just keep to the muse, keep to the love of the work. I think that's the way to do it, because the business and the ego can really drive you down. I know personally. So just I wish you all luck, and wish you the best.
100%. Thank you, Fred.
Absolutely.
I really appreciate it. Well,
absolutely.
In that case, better wrap it up here then. Oh my goodness, it's been a very long interview.
Such a beautiful time talking with you. Thank you so much. Definitely. I hope there's something in there that you can use.
Of course there will. Of course there will. Is there any way, we can find you on social media? Do you have a website?
Just my name, Fred Tatasciore, Instagram. And I've not been doing a whole lot yet with my social media, but I'm going to try to do a little bit more this year. So I'll keep you posted.
You could be a TikTok star. You could be a TikTok star like Charlie Adler's doing.
I would do it in a heartbeat. I got to figure out how to do it. Do some animation.
That'd be really cool. Yes, that'd be really cool. Oh my goodness.
That's what I'm starting to try to do now.
Wow. Well, I better look out for that then. To you at home, thank you so much for watching this episode.
Thank you so much.
With ATF. It's been a great pleasure to talk to Fred Tatasciore, and I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did recording it.
I did, Amber Jones. Thank you.
Thank you. Beautiful. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you in a future video. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Cut.